All right, we are going to start right up with example 2. And so you should turn your book to page 322. We're just going to read example 2 together. We have an auto mechanic has 300 milliliters of battery acid solution that is 60% acid. He must add water to this solution to dilute it so that it is only 45% acid. How much water should he add? Once again, it's a lot of information. The key is organization. Okay, so I'm going to get my chart, my handy dandy blank chart made up. Really important to put the headings. So what are we talking about? Okay, step 1 of the 5-step method. What is the problem asking about? Well, it's asking about how many milliliters of water should we add to this solution. So we can write original sol or solution. We're going to add water or added water. Let's do that. Let's write added water. I always like to put something like added water or added raisins or whatever, because that helps tell us, hey, we're gonna add this. It's gonna be plus whatever this amount is. Because there'll be some that we actually evaporate water, and then we're going to have to subtract, and that would happen in chemistry or something like that. And as usual, we could put mixture here. The example in the book has new solution, which is fine. So original solution, added water, and new solution. At the top, we're talking about total amount, or amount in, I think it was milliliters that they're asking about. We're going to multiply that by, this problem happens to be talking about a percentage of acid. So we're going to multiply this by a percentage of acid. Okay, and that is going to equal, when you multiply, when you have an amount of something and you multiply it by a percentage of something. So for instance, let's say you had 2 milliliters of water that is 50% salt, you would multiply 2 liters times 0.5 and you would get the amount of salt. And so that's what we're going to do here. The amount of something times the percent of acid is going to equal the amount of acids, right? So initially this left side amount is just the full solution. Right here is the amount of acid in that solution, okay? So now we can just start filling out the chart. It's really the headings that are important. Once you have the headings, everything just kind of falls into place. So you can reread here. An auto mechanic has 300 milliliters of battery acid solution. So that's what the mechanic has originally, 300 milliliters. It is 60% acid. Okay, once again, given. I'm going to turn that into a decimal of 0.6. I'm going to keep reading. He must add water to this solution to dilute it. Notice they don't tell me how much he's going to add, so that's our variable. We're going to add some amount of water to this solution to dilute it so that it is only 45% acid. Okay, here's the trick. Some people think, hey, let's put this 45% acid like right here, because that's the next blank available spot. Okay, but you also have to use some common sense when you are filling this out. Okay, the common sense here might include, well, how much acid, what percentage of water is acid, or what percent acid is water? So hopefully there is 0% acid in your water. The 45 that they're referring to, it says must add water to this solution to dilute it so that it is, okay, so that's like after they add water to it, it is or will be 45% acid. So the 45% is actually going to be the new solution. Again, I wrote added water here because I'm going to add x to the original solution. So now we're just going to multiply across to get the third column. So we have 300 times 0.6. I could probably just figure that out and write it here, but I can just leave it as 300 times 0.6. No matter what x is, we're going to multiply it by 0, so that's easy. And then this last one, we have 0.45 times 300 plus x. All right, just as in the last problem, the amount of acid in the original solution, okay, which is 300 times 0.6, the amount of acid in the original solution, plus the amount of acid added, which was 0, okay, you don't even have to put that if you don't want to, but that's what it is going to equal the amount of acid in the new solution. Okay, so we have the amount of acid in the original plus the amount of acid that we're adding is going to equal the amount of acid in the new. And you can see all the calculations in the example in the book. So I'm not going to go through that to save time. You could just do the exact steps that they have in the book in example 2. But what I do want to talk about is what you do once you get your answer, which ends up being x equals 100. Okay, once again, that's only the end of step 4. Step 5 is answering the problem, so you have to reread. What are they asking for? Well, how much water should be added? This is one of those cases, and it happens sometimes, where solving the equation does actually give you the answer, okay? But what you have to do is put it into terms that make sense for the answer. They're asking about water. We're talking about milliliters. So 100 milliliters of water should be added. Okay, 100 milliliters of H2O. So that is the end of example 2. In the next video, I'll just grab some directly from the homework, and hopefully we can walk through those, and you'll be able to use these as examples as you work on problems on your own.